You can hear me, right? Say something so I know I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yep.
I'm assuming that you can hear me just fine, right? See, now all you're doing is stalling. This is actually a beautiful intro. If he keeps this in, to be honest with you, I definitely think he needs to keep this in. So then you can hear all the, can you hear me? Are we ready? Are we not ready? This is a perfect intro to the first podcast.
I don't know about that.
Oh, absolutely. Get it started. Let's go. Come on.
All right, let's do it. All right, welcome to the first episode of Livin on a Hedge. It's a sports podcast where the bets are questionable, the analysis is debatable, and sarcasm is absolutely guaranteed. I'm Jason.
I'm Eric, and we live by one motto, always hedge your happiness.
That's a fact. Go ahead, Eric, tell us, you kind of came up with that always hedge your happiness motto. Kind of tell us where that came from.
Well, all that stemmed from is that I like to bet against my team because I always want to make sure that when my team pisses me off and loses, that I make money in the process. So I came up with the term hedging my happiness because I'm either going to have my team win, like the Hawkeyes this year, get into the Elite Eight. They were either going to keep advancing, or I was going to make money. And either way, I was going to be fine. But that's where it came from, was hedging my happiness.
Yeah, completely makes sense. I've kind of taken on that motto since I'm from Michigan originally, moved out to Colorado in 2012. But regardless, still always a huge Tigers fan, Lions fan, basically every Detroit.
Thanks for the sweep this week. That was really helpful.
Yeah, well,
really
I was gonna bring that up later, but
No,
since you brought that up,
no, we just might as well talk about how my White Sox sucked this week and we choked a couple games. But continue.
But yeah, I mean, your White Sox have sucked for I don't know the last 10 years, something like that.
Only 3 years of 100 losses.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I know you've been setting records, but so I was fully expecting, since the White Sox have been actually performing this year, and my Tigers have not been looking that good, that at best maybe we'd take one game, but no, the sweep was...
you shouldn't have.
The sweep was
nice.
nice.
No, you shouldn't have, because we choked the lead again after taking the lead against Scooball in Game 1, and then, of course, Sir Anthony Dominguez has to come in there and do what he does and choke away the lead in the 9th, and then we cough it up in the 10th, so that was... I mean, we should have won 2. Well, we at least could have won 2.
Yeah, I mean, that absolute smash by Veerling in extra innings that, the old duck snort to right field to give us the win. That was pretty exciting.
Yeah, I was glad I was actually spending time with my wife and my daughter on Father's Day rather than watching that shit. So I was that was a lot better. I just happened to turn on my phone and look at the score and go, of course, yeah, why wouldn't they do that? That makes sense.
So, anyway, so as I said, I'm a huge Detroit sports fan. Always have been, even moving out here. I'll definitely root for the Avs, the Nuggets. I like watching them all. But still, my heart lies in Detroit. Obviously, if you're a sports fan, you probably know the heartache of being a Lions fan for pretty much the entire existence of their organization.
Never heard you say a word about it.
No, I don't. No. Don't usually bring that up to anyone.
No, you're the most calm Lions fan I've ever seen in my life.
Always by the book. Just watch games, don't really say much, and just take the losses as they come. But
yeah, you take them so well.
That might have been a little sarcasm there. But hey, I mean, as of 3 years ago, we were actually turning the organization around. I mean, we actually had what I thought was going to be our absolute best chance to ever reach a Super Bowl, until we blew a 17-point lead to San Fran.
Was it 17? I actually thought it was more than that.
Oh, no, it was a 17-point halftime lead.
17, okay.
To San Fran.
I thought you guys got up by 20 or 21 in the third.
No.
No. Because that would have been, more entertaining to listen to you bitch about it.
Yeah, to you, but...
Dude, my Cowboys are never going to get that far anyway. So I don't.
We don't have to worry about that. The one thing I specifically remember is at halftime of that game, I'm like sitting in my chair, very calm, thinking in my mind.
Calm. Okay.
No. At this time, I was very calm, thinking in my mind, oh my God, is this finally the time I'm going to be able to see my Lions in the Super Bowl? And we had kind of a party over at my house, and my brother-in-law comes up right as halftime started, comes up and goes, "You're going to the Super Bowl. Can you believe this?" And I said, fuck you. That's literally, I mean, I was just like, why? Why did you have to say that? And now, about an hour and a half later, I shushed him out of my house real quick.
So now, here's the thing, is that we hadn't started the podcast and really hadn't even come up with the idea at this point. But did you not get on your phone and bet the Niners live at halftime? So that when this happens, knowing that the Lions are going to piss you off and they're going to lose and they're going to choke, you could have put $100 down at plus 1,500, whatever the hell the line was at the time.
It wasn't that high, but I
even
get your
700.
point.
You get my point that you could have easily done that for $100. And when the Lions are going to piss you off and lose, which they always do, because that's what the Lions do, then you could have at least paid half your mortgage, made a car payment, bought your wife something nice, whatever. But
I could have hedged my happiness.
That's what I'm saying, is that you should have hedged your happiness, which is what exactly I did to every single Cowboys playoff game for the last 5 years, except for when they're the 2 seed at home against the Packers when they're 7.5 point favorites. And I go, you know what? This is going to be the first time that I don't hedge my happiness. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wait till they get a lead, and I'm going to get a better price instead of the plus 300 or whatever it was. And then I'm going to get plus 600 or plus 500. And I'm going to bet $200 instead of $400 to hedge my happiness. And then I watched them proceed to get down, what was it, 89-0, I think, in the second quarter.
It was close.
It was something along those lines. So...
yeah, the odds actually didn't behoove you at that point to go ahead and...
I didn't feel like mortgaging my house to try to make $38 on the Packers at that point. So, and it's odd because everybody always asks me how I'm a Cowboys fan. Growing up in Iowa, we don't have any professional sports teams. And the only reason that I'm a Cowboys fan is that my dad was a diehard Cowboys fan. He loved Tom Landry. He loved the Cowboys. He's also a Yankees fan, so he was kind of a bandwagon, I'm only going to root for the popular teams that are really good, that always tend to win.
Sure.
So my dad was always dressing me in Tony Dorsett jerseys when I was 3 years old, and that's all I did was grow up just watching the Cowboys games on Thanksgiving and watching it with my old man, and that's how I became a Cowboys fan. Most people from Iowa are Vikings fans, Chiefs fans, Bears fans, Packers fans. It's kind of a
somewhere close to Iowa.
Yeah, I mean the teams that are geographically located next to them, sure. But I became a Cowboys fan, and thank God I did, because the last 30 years have just been, so good.
How many Super Bowls did you make in the 90s? I mean, half of them.
Well, they won 3. They won 3 in the 90s. They went 3-0 because they only made 3, and they won all 3. They beat the Bills once, or the Bills twice. Sorry, they beat the Bills twice, and then they beat the Steelers once. I think it was in '96. I think it was '96. Anyway, they beat the Steelers in that game. Ever since then, it has been 30 years of joy and utter bliss.
But what I'm getting at is you actually have championships.
Yes.
Try being a Lions fan for 47 years. It's been, as I said, about 44 years of heartache and 3 years of we have a shot. And, up until last year, we didn't even make the playoffs. So who knows where we're going this season. I'm hoping we get back on the winning track. But
how old are you?
47.
Okay. And I'm 46. So I was 16-ish at that, something along those lines. The last time the Cowboys won a Super Bowl, which was when Clinton was in office. Yeah. Now, granted, you haven't had one at all in your lifetime for the Lions. But does that really matter at this point? I mean, when you're talking 30-some years between when your team has last won a championship, it's kind of irrelevant at that point, because
it absolutely matters. I'm sorry, it matters. You have a championship. I'm the laughing stock of basically anybody who is a sports fan and says, "Oh, what's your favorite team?" The Lions. Man, you've never won a championship. Yes, I'm well aware of that.
Or you could be like me, where every single person finds out that I'm a Cowboys fan and goes, "Yep, we them boys. Yep, this is our year. We're gonna make it." I have to listen to all the shit about people giving me a Cowboys fan. Oh, you mean like
Stephen A. Smith?
He's my favorite. I love Stephen A. Smith. He's so good. No, but you know that I'm not a We Dem Cowboys fan. I bet against them all the time. I fully expect them to lose. I enjoy profiting on them when they lose, because it's just something that I expect to happen. Just like your Lions, you expect them to lose.
I don't expect them to lose anymore. I actually go into games expecting them to play well and actually have a chance to win. Now, 4 years ago, and for the previous 43 years before that, yes, every single game, you just assumed they were going to lose no matter what. I mean, we had two of the absolute best NFL players of all time in Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson, who both cut their careers short because pretty much they were just sick of losing. So, I mean, that's a very sad.
You somehow found two amazing, highly talented players to play for your organization that were the only athletes in the history of all 4 major sports that went, you know what? I don't care about the money. I actually care about winning.
Yeah, which is absolutely incredible.
I don't know how that's possible.
It is.
I know it is. I just don't know how I don't know how you've managed to pull that off.
Yeah, well, that's it takes talent, let me tell you.
I mean, all I know is that I hope for the rest of this year, at least as baseball is concerned, I hope that my White Sox and I hope that your Tigers at least have a decent run, toward the AL Central this year, and have something that we can talk about and banter between, that we can talk about, and that we can, that you and I can sort of laugh about for the rest of the year.
Well, I will say, and I think you were very surprised when I told you this. So obviously, I've always been a Tigers fan, always been a Lions fan. I mean, I've been a complete Detroit fan my entire life. Red Wings, Pistons, regardless. Obviously, in the 90s, early 2000s, Red Wings were super good, won a couple championships. Pistons, same thing. That was when Tigers and Lions absolutely sucked. So I love every Detroit sports team. My favorite two sports, though, by far, are baseball and football. So obviously, I enjoyed watching the Red Wings. I enjoyed watching the Pistons win their championships. Me personally, for my own sanity, I need a Tigers/Lions championship, one way or the other. The last time Tigers won a championship, I was 6 years old. Didn't even really know what baseball was at that time. I mean,
at that age, no.
So I mean, that kind of throws it out the window. But the interesting thing that I told you that you were, I think, pretty surprised about, in the 90s, I actually was a very big White Sox fan because my favorite player during that time, even though I was a big Tigers fan, my favorite player to watch.
Albert Bell?
No, Frank Thomas.
Oh, well, I mean, that's
absolutely
okay.
Loved the Big Hurt. And the interesting thing is, back in that time, obviously that's way before, technology, social media, phones, everything. So in Michigan, there was a station, WGN, which is still today. My grandpa would watch Cubs games and White Sox games as much as they were on TV. And believe it or not, Tigers games weren't always televised. Like today, you can basically watch any game you want. Right. So, I would listen to the Tigers on the radio, but I would also watch the Cubs and the White Sox because that's something I would do with my grandpa.
Yeah, I would do the same thing because the Cubs would be on like 6 days a week and the White Sox would get one on WGN.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
But I would never miss a White Sox game because I just loved watching Frank Thomas play. The guy was just a generational talent. He was so good, genuinely good guy, and I just loved watching him because he was so good.
Well, that's because didn't you play first base when you were in high school and whatever?
I was a first baseman all through school. Played baseball was my favorite sport by far to play. So I kind of modeled myself after him. I mean, I look as built and as.
Well, I mean, that's how I became a White Sox fan. So I lived in a really small town in the northwest part of Iowa when I was younger. And my dad got a new job in Des Moines. And so we moved to a suburb of Des Moines. And I changed schools, and it was fourth grade. And I didn't know anybody there, obviously, because I just changed schools. And I met this guy named Aaron, and he was a huge Frank Thomas fan. I mean, loved the White Sox, loved Frank Thomas, everything. He had posters and everything you could think of. So when he and I started becoming, best friends when we were in fourth grade, which we still are best friends to this day, he was a White Sox fan, and my dad was a Yankees fan, and I never really got into the Yankees as much as anything else. Baseball wasn't like my first passion at the time. It was always football and basketball. But when I met him and he was a big White Sox fan and Frank Thomas fan, I was like, you know what? Robin Ventura. Robin Ventura is my guy. I'm going to be a Robin Ventura fan because he batted left-handed, and I always wished that I was left-handed. Okay. So I became a White Sox fan that way, and I've been a lifelong White Sox fan since. And we had our miracle year in 2005, which is fantastic. No complaints. At least I got the one championship. But my God, I just wish that I had teams that I liked that had better owners than Jerry Reinsdorf and Jerry Jones. Those two human beings might be the worst fucking sports owners that have ever existed on the planet.
And by the way, if either of you are watching, we would continue. We'd love your continued support after he just bashed you. But anyway.
I was going to say yes. If you're a Cowboys fan and a White Sox fan, I totally understand. If you I get it. I just hope that. Okay, I'll try to tone down the hatred to Jerry Reinsdorf and to Jerry Jones and all that. But I mean,
there's a fine line between sarcasm and hatred.
No, well, but if you're a true White Sox fan and you're a true Cowboys fan, I think that you can understand and appreciate where I'm coming from in terms of how they run the team and what they do. At least Jerry Jones will spend the money on players, and he does a great job at marketing his team and getting attention and eyeballs and fandom, and that's fine. Jerry Jones, if you're a true White Sox fan, there is not one White Sox fan I have ever met in my life that goes, you know what? Jerry Reinsdorf, he is the best owner I've ever seen in my life. I love the fact that he won't spend any money. I love the fact that he won't sign any pitchers after the John Danks debacle. I love how there's nobody that does that.
With that being said, though, I do have to say, it certainly looks like your farm system has been improving dramatically over the past couple of years. I mean, you've got some amazing players that are coming through the organization right now.
I have no idea. When Chris Getz got hired, I had no clue that it was going to turn out the way that it is right now. The farm system's amazing. They're turning out talent. Mike Shirley and, God, I can't think of the other guy's name, that does the scouting and the drafting and stuff for the Sox. They have done an amazing job at identifying talent, developing them, making good trades. Like Tristan Peters this year, he was a castaway, a player to be named later, whatever it was, in that trade with the Rays that sent Yuendris Gomez and I think it was a reliever. Anyway, Tristan Peters was a guy that came back. He's worth 2 WAR right now in center field. He's batting without it being in front of me, 290 or something like that. He's plus defensive run saved. He's been fantastic. And at the beginning of the year, I looked at that going, Tristan Peters, he made the team. How did he make the team? And it's just things like that have been happening throughout the year. I mean, you look at Braden Montgomery. He came in and hit a walk-off home run against the Braves. You got Jacob Gonzalez. They came up. He had that huge monster home run against the Phillies out there in the first series he was at. So there's a lot to look forward to with the White Sox, and I'm cautiously optimistic about not just for this year. If they collapse and they fall apart and they don't make the playoffs, they're still on the right trajectory for right now, and I'm very happy about that.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, with my Tigers going into this season, this was supposed to be one of the best starting pitching staffs we've ever had. Clearly, Skubal, number one, got hurt. Unfortunately, that was a huge disaster for us. Now he's back. Hopefully he gets back on track. But, we re-signed Verlander. I've always been a huge Verlander fan. I mean, that guy changed the course of our organization before he got traded. And then we brought him back kind of as his farewell tour. Kind of sounds like there's a chance he may never pitch again. He just keeps going through injuries, so that's unfortunate.
I thought he was supposed to pitch this past weekend against the Sox.
He was. He just has injuries. And he just, from what I read, he's contemplating retiring before he even pitches another.
I did not hear that.
So unfortunately, that hasn't gone as well as we had hoped. Framber came over from the Astros. I really thought he was going to be a monster for us. And he's been good at times, but he's also been lit up at times. So we just don't have that. I don't know. We just don't have that cohesiveness, I feel, that we've had the past couple of years where we made some kind of miracle runs that nobody was expecting. 2 years ago is when we snuck into the playoffs and made a little bit of a run that everybody was shocked at. Nobody... I mean, there's probably not a Tigers fan out there that thought we were going to make the playoffs 2 years ago, because we were 16 games back with in the 1st of August, or maybe even middle of August.
You guys were 10 games out, and then you went on a
19-2
run or something.
Crazy tear. Yeah. To just sneak into
with a whole
playoffs.
Bunch of players like the White Sox this year that were young up-and-comers.
All young players.
Prospects. There was maybe 1 or 2 veterans that you guys had. It's the same kind of concept for the White Sox. But you see, the White Sox started out at the beginning of the year. Your Tigers were, middling, 5 games under kind of thing, and then they just something clicked.
Yeah. So and that's sometimes what you need in order to sometimes it's not the best team that played the entire regular season. It's the teams that got hot at the end of the regular season, and they might be a 6 seed, and then they run the table.
Yeah, but I'd rather have my team get hot in September.
Oh, of course.
Than be hot in May through June, and then just
fizzle out.
Yeah, and then just fizzle out. Yeah, which is. Again, if my White Sox fizzle out and they don't make the playoff, I'm fine. Yeah. It's still a good year. There's nothing that you should be ashamed about as a White Sox fan for this year.
Right now, I can't imagine that any White Sox fan is not feeling that you are far exceeding expectations.
Oh, absolutely.
For this year.
No, I mean, to be honest with you, if you listen to any of the White Sox podcasts, any of the pundits, you did anything that you saw online, most people would have picked the Sox between 70, 73 wins, somewhere around there this year, which would have been a 10 to 13 game improvement over last year, which is fine. But the fact that I think they're 4 games over right now and 1 game back at Cleveland. It's either 3 or 4 over. Either way,
I think after the Tigers swept them, they might be closer to.
No, you're right. They're 2 games over. Anyway, it doesn't matter. They're probably on pace to win over 81 games, which is 10, 12, 14, whatever games above expectations for this year. So I mean, even. There's nothing to be ashamed about. There's nothing to be concerned about. This year has already been a success, and it can only get better.
Well, right now, I mean, obviously we're both fans of teams in the AL Central. To me, just based on the competition, that division is wide open. I don't even feel like the Tigers are out of it yet. We're like, I think we're 8 back now.
You're not out of it. Because,
No.
Look at the Sox. The Sox are young. The Guardians have lost DeLauder. They've lost Ramirez. Bazana's been on a tear for the last week, but there's nobody on the Guardians that scares you. If you're a Tigers fan, or even a Royals fan for that matter, is there anybody on the White Sox that you're going, oh my God? Colson Montgomery, he's got a lot of power. Munetaka's probably coming back soon, which will help.
Yep.
But this is Munetaka's first year. He strikes out all the time. Colson Montgomery can disappear for 10 games and K 17 times out of 20.
Yeah.
So just because you're 8 games back, you guys aren't out of it at all.
Far from it. There's plenty of time, obviously. All-Star game will be coming up, and, hopefully we get a good start after the All-Star break and make a run. But, yeah, as of right now, the AL Central is pretty weak overall. There's no team running away with it. There's no Dodgers or Yankees in our division. So, it's wide open. So anything can happen.
Yeah, that's why we love baseball. It's a marathon, not a sprint. You can get hot for 10 games, but that's irrelevant.
Yeah.
You got to carry it on for another 152 games after that 10.
Absolutely.
So,
all right. So I kind of want to get into, let's talk about our brand and our name. So we kind of came up with a few different ideas. We settled on Livin on a Hedge.
Well, that's
I'll let you kind of go take it.
Well, we settled on Livin on a Hedge because after all the names that we came up with, we kind of decided that is what we do, and that's how we're different than other. I don't want to say, that's how we're different than a lot of other bettors. Is that we make a lot of bets and we do a lot of things that most other people don't do, and we're much more willing to hedge the final leg or to hedge in the middle of a parlay to try to get money back or to guarantee that you can not lose everything on that given bet. Because after all the years that we've done this, before we started our podcast and before we decided that we wanted to try to, create a website, which we'll get into that in a little bit later, that we wanted to try to, it was a way for us to try to figure out, okay, we have a $100 parlay, let's say, and we're the first 2 legs are green, and we're on the 3rd leg right now, and our team's up 4-0. So we can take $15 bet in the middle of our parlay that pays plus 500 and basically get our money back. So if we'll use the Tigers and White Sox as an example. So we have the Tigers money line as the 3rd leg, and the Tigers are at 4-0 on the White Sox. Well, you bet $15 on the White Sox money line as a hedge, so that you're guaranteed to either get past
at
that
plus
leg.
600 plus
Sure.
700 pays $100.
Yeah.
That's what we have invested in the parlay.
Right. So you either get past the parlay, or you get past the parlay. You get past that leg of the parlay, so that you're on to the final whatever leg, 2 legs that are remaining. Or if the Sox come back and and happen to come back and win the game, well, instead of your $100 being down the drain and being dead in the water, now you got that $15 bet at plus 600. You've got $90. So basically, you free roll the entire bet. And for the bets that we make, generally speaking, a $100 parlay for us is going to be a plus 800, plus 1,000, plus 1,500, whatever the parlay may be. So if you're talking about, let's say 1,000, and we'll use easy math here. If it's a $100 parlay that pays 1,000, well, $15 out of that $1,000 possible win,
it's 1.5%.
It's 1.5%. It's a tiny, small fraction of what you're talking about. So what we figured out over all the time was that by doing those things, we were able to save a lot of money throughout all those parlays, avoiding those bad beats or those teams that come back when they shouldn't win the game, to where we can take that $100 and we can try another bet the next day. And we can, in essence, if you want to say, free roll for tomorrow for that parlay, And so that was how we came up with Livin on a Hedge. That was what we were doing to save our money.
And there's a lot of, for the lack of a better term, professional sports bettors who believe hedging is taboo. You should never hedge a bet. You're just cutting off your nose to spite your face. Don't ever do that. The difference is, we're working with a somewhat limited budget. It's not like, either of us are rich beyond our means.
We're not Jeff Bezos, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
I wish, but we're not.
So, $100 a bet or, $150 a bet, whatever we're betting, it's a decent amount of money. You don't want to lose. Nobody ever wants to lose a bet.
No, even
when you're betting that kind
$5, even if you're betting $5, I guarantee the people that are betting $5 on, the Broncos minus 2.5 against the Chargers or whatever.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that, it's probably not going to financially break them if they lose it, but they're not watching the game going, well, I hope I lose this bet. They still want to win.
Exactly.
Everybody wants to win.
So yeah, we've just figured out ways to hopefully increase the chance that we get to fight another day, I guess, is, obviously we're trying to win the parlay, but if we can make a bet in game during whatever our parlay is, and we can get, odds that are extremely good where we can protect the bet for a very minimal investment.
Yes.
In my opinion, in your opinion, why not do it? There's literally no reason not to, and that's just our opinions.
Yeah, I mean, going back to the $100 parlay, that's plus 1,000. You're certainly not on the third leg of that parlay going to bet $250.
Of course.
To hedge at whatever the price may be to try to guarantee a profit or to get past that third leg. When you're early on in the parlay, you're only hedging small amounts at high odds.
Correct.
Because you're not going to take off 10, 20, 30% of your payout that early in the parlay. When you get to the end of the parlay, if everything else is green and you're in good shape and you have one final leg remaining, then you can sit down and objectively think about, okay, this is the price, this is what we're going to get paid, this is the hedge side of it, how much do we want to bet, do we want to bet it, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and there's a lot more analysis when it comes to that point. But, when you're in the middle of the parlay, I just find that, and there's times where we don't even get the option because, let's say the third leg, using the same example you did, we have the Tigers money line, but the Sox score 3 in the first. So now it's 3-0 Sox.
Oh, yeah. And then
we never get a chance.
Yeah, you're
and that's just the way it is. There's nothing we can do.
No.
But
I mean, shit happens.
Yeah. If we ever, but what, basically what we're saying is if you get that chance, you have a 5-leg, 6-leg parlay, even on leg 3, leg 4, if you can get the odds where you can bet 1%, 2%, 3%, maybe even up to 5% of your actual potential winnings to protect the bet and get your money back, I just don't think that's a bad situation at all.
No,
it lives to fight another day should that team come back and win. That now you're sitting there going, "Oh man, why didn't I hedge? Why didn't we take that money back chance when we had it?"
Yeah, I mean, and we're more volume players than anything. I mean, we probably have on any given day, especially during baseball, because baseball is nonstop. I mean, we probably have 2 to 3, decent sized parlays going, and then we have a few straight bets that we also do on the side, taking a guy for 2 bases or, taking this team on the run line or whatever it may be.
And we never chase. And when we lose the first leg of a parlay, oh no, we never. We just say, oh, okay, that's just a bad day. We're done. No, we never chase.
No, we just tip our cap and we just go spend time with the wife, and we do whatever we need to do. We never once have we ever had a rage bet where we've gotten onto one of the books and been like, you know what? No, we're going $500 in this right now. We're getting our money back this second.
What are we, 15 minutes into this? I think people might be picking up on our sarcasm. But.
Well, I mean, I think what's the best we've ever done? I think there was a bet I think last week or 2 weeks ago where we took a couple. I think we took the Phillies money line, and the Philly it might not have been the Phillies. Anyway, it was some East Coast team, and they were down 5-0 in the first inning. And I think I texted you and said like, well, we're fucked. And then I think your reply was something to me.
I'm already looking at another bet.
Okay, I was going to say, I think your reply was something along those lines of, don't worry, I've already got the next bet set up.
Yeah. So, I mean, and the interesting thing is, kind of besides all of, specifically hedging in-game, this is something that I kind of have started to not necessarily live by, but really enjoy doing. So if there's... we'll kind of get into some of the bets that we like to make, which are kind of different than what a lot of sports bettors make, especially with baseball. But, actually, let's talk about that first. That way, then it can kind of lead into where the main hedge comes from. So, a lot of the bets that I look at daily, that I try to come up with, that are different from other sports bettors are. Like team home run bets.
I know you're a big fan of those things.
Yeah. So typically, as I look through a slate of games, nearly every single line for a team home run is going to be either 0.5 or 1.5. So what that means is the team. So let's just randomly pick a team. Let's say the Cubs.
You had to choose the baby Bears.
Yeah,
really.
Yes.
Thank you for that. Continue.
Well, because they've screwed us about 4 or 5 times this year. But
thank you. Continue.
But Continue. Yeah, so on a day, the reason I chose them is because Wrigley Field is one of those fields where you have a day where the wind might be blowing out at 25 miles an hour, or it might be blowing in at 25 miles an hour,
That's
and
true.
That affects the line based on weather and based on other factors. So a lot of times. The Cubs might be 1.5 team home runs if, it's a really hot day and the wind's blowing out. And obviously they'd be 0.5 home runs if the wind's blowing in and it's cold, whatever. So what I like to do, I kind of go through the slate of games. I look at pitching matchups. Basically what I do is I take a look at all of the 0.5 lines, write them down, then look at the pitching from the other side, and then I'll look at how many home runs that particular pitcher has given up this season. So usually if they've given up like 1 or 2 over their past 5 starts, I avoid it. If it's a guy who's given up like 5 home runs over his past 2 or 3 starts, I'll jump on it, especially if the line's 0.5, because clearly that pitcher is either in a bad run of starts, throws meatballs up there, gives up home runs.
They might have lost the feel for their splitter.
Sure,
who knows?
Yeah, whatever it may be. So that's kind of how I structure those bets. Now, we've had a lot of success. We had an insane amount of success with these bets last year. This year, we've kind of ran into, we've hit some, but we haven't been as successful. But, it doesn't deter me, because anybody who watches baseball consistently, the home run is the most exciting aspect of the game.
Well, sure.
Outside of maybe a perfect game or, something very defensive. But in general, you're watching baseball, you get super excited if your team hits a home run. That's baseball.
Yeah.
So, and in general, when the weather is extremely warm, we're now in June, most places across the country, it's minimum of 80 degrees during the day, even at night, 75 to 85 degrees. And it's just known the ball flies easier, and you're going to get more home runs this time of the year than you are earlier in the season. So, of course, the sports books know that, so they've adjusted a lot of their lines to 1.5, which doesn't necessarily deter me, but 1.5 is a tough line in most situations, unless you're going against just a terrible pitcher. So in general, I'll look at the lines. I'll come up with 5 or 6 games that I really like, where I just take the teams that just need to hit 1 home run in the game, versus in general, I'll choose a terrible pitcher or a pitcher that hasn't been pitching well against those teams. And, a 6-leg parlay, something like that, with team home runs of over 0.5 will typically pay around plus 600 to plus 800.
Yeah,
it varies, but
general,
in general, that's what you're going to get. So, pretty good payoff. Now,
but the nice thing about those bets too is that it makes every single at bat exciting.
Yeah,
because look at the White Sox on
exactly.
Sunday. You had the White Sox hitting over 0.5 home runs in the game on Sunday. And who hit the 1 home run for the White Sox?
Luis Angel Acuna.
Luis Angel Acuna.
Did he even have a home run this season before that?
I think it was either that was his second or that was his first, because I want to say that he had some miraculous home run or something in earlier in this year. But regardless,
because it's Ronald Acuna's brother with about
0 power.
with about 0% of Ronald's power.
I think Acuna has maybe 1/10 of Ozzie Smith's power.
Yeah.
So, but that's the point.
He's the speed guy. He's the guy that you want to get on base and steal bases.
He's your backup shortstop, your backup center fielder. He's your pinch runner in the 8th when you need somebody to steal bases. That's what he does.
Yeah.
But he's the 9th place hitter with 0 power, no power whatsoever. But he was the one who got that leg green, which is why those home run bets are so fun and so nice, because every single at bat, no matter what was it, there was. Who was it? Mets guy that it was the 9th inning with 2 outs.
Vientos.
It was.
No.
It wasn't Vientos. It was a Met, wasn't it?
Say that again.
Well, I thought it was a Met.
No. What was it? 2 outs in the 9th.
It was 2 outs. It was 2 outs in the 9th.
It happened. It happened this
past week. It was the
week.
Mets because
No. It was the Padres. It was Jackson Merrill.
Oh,
with 2 outs
they
in the
reviewed
9th.
it. That's right.
Yes,
they reviewed the home
2
run.
outs in the bottom of the 9th, and it was the top of the 9th, because they were the visiting team, and I was already counting out the bet, and he rips one right down the line. I mean, long gone if it's fair, and they called it fair, and I'm celebrating, and then I see the dreaded. We are reviewing the home run play, and I'm just like, oh, please, this is like 2 outs in the 9th. This couldn't have worked out any better. If you take this away, this is just going to be a gut punch of all gut punches.
It's going to be fantastic for everybody out there that's listening and following us on all the socials and all that, to be able to actually see the text messages that you send to me when you post them online, because they're always so calm. They're peaceful. There's no swearing whatsoever.
Yes, I'm usually doing yoga while I'm texting you.
Yeah, it's either yoga or meditating. It's one of the two. I'm not sure which. But the amount of text messages that I got from you during that game, bitching nonstop about just, oh my God, how they haven't hit a home run, how can they not, blah, blah. And then they get the 2-run home run in the ninth, and the emojis or whatever the hell that you sent me. It's going to be, I can't wait for everybody to experience it themselves.
Yeah, I mean, it's great because, and there again, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about. Those are the bets where the bet is never dead until that final out is recorded, and that was a perfect example of that.
Well, don't you remember last year, with the final leg of one of the parlays that we hit last year on the home run bets was that Orioles game with, I think it was either Gunnar or Adley Rutschman.
It was Adley Rutschman.
It was Adley,
yeah.
And it was the Red. They were playing the Reds, I think. I'm pretty sure.
I don't remember who they were playing, but I know the game was like 18 to 1.
It was 18 to 0 or 18 to 1.
It was 18 to 1. I remember that, and I'm like, there's no way any.
It was the bottom or the. I'm almost positive it was in Cincinnati. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It was the 8th inning, and both of us are going, why is Adley Rutschman even batting right now? Like, why are they not pinch hitting for him?
Exactly.
And he crushes a home run into right center.
Absolutely blasts.
I mean, it was off a low leverage reliever. It was off a reliever. It wasn't even off a position player.
Yeah.
It was off some low leverage reliever. But the point is that even in a massive blowout of 18 to 1, you can still get that
Where
leg.
had you taken the Orioles money line, you were two and a half hours ago, you were already driving around, not caring about anything.
Oh, yeah, your bet was dead when they were down 11 to 0 in the second inning. You're like, well, that was fun. That's exciting.
But that's why it's fun, because even in an 18 to 1 game, you're still watching because your bet is still live at that time.
And it's actually amazing, too, because there's a lot of people that I work with that did not even know that bet existed.
Really?
Because you have to go over to team props. On DraftKings, let's say you got to go to team props, and you got to scroll down, and they got, I think, singles, doubles, home runs, hits, runs scored, all that kind of stuff. And we found the home runs thing last year, and we were like, wait a minute, you can bet just a team to hit out one home run and that's it.
Yeah.
Because but before, I mean, we still do now. I mean, I love my HRR bets, my hits, runs, and RBIs bets.
Yeah, which is those are the fun player parlays that most everybody does, and when those hit, it's great. In that instance, though, you take a guy for whatever it is, 2 HR, two bases. You watch him bat now for the next 45 minutes until he comes. Well, maybe not 45. For the next half an hour until he comes up again. You're just kind of like, well, I don't really care about either of these teams, but I'm watching because I have this guy in my parlay.
Yeah.
But with the team home run bets, you're watching literally every single at-bat that team is taking. It makes no difference because at any point, one of those guys hits a home run, bang, that leg is green, you're moving on.
Adley Rutschman, 18 to 1 game in the 8th inning when he shouldn't be playing, gets us green, and we win a parlay. Jackson Merrill, the Padres, 2 outs in the 9th inning this year, hits that home run that's reviewed, and that gets us green on a parlay, and we cash that one as well.
Yep.
So, I mean, you can make the same argument for HRR. Sure, the guy like Bobby Witt. I think Bobby Witt did that to me a month or two ago, where he was 0 for 4 or something like that, and
goes to extra innings
by some fluke, and then he hits an RBI single or
no,
whatever.
He hit a home run.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. He did. He hit a home run.
Yep.
Yeah. So the parlay got green. So even for the HRR bets or the bases bet in that situation, every at bat can still matter.
Of course.
So that's why I don't have a huge problem with the HR bets. The only concern with those bets though is the whole pinch hitter thing, because if it's Adley Rutschman in that situation where it's 18 to 1, more often than not the superstar stud is going to get pinch hit for to make sure that they don't get hurt in a meaningless game that they can't win.
That's always the issue with player props is in baseball, blowouts don't happen nearly as much as in football, basketball. Basketball is one that me and you go back and forth on because as much as I love basketball, there are so many blowouts all the time, and you take a stud for whatever. You take a stud for 35 points, rebounds, and assists, and he's got 32 after the third quarter, and he doesn't see the court in the fourth, and you're like, why?
But you came around this year where you actually started enjoying because you found the PRA bets, the points, rebounds, and assist bet.
Yes.
And you became a huge fan of those, and it's amazing when you start winning a few bets.
Weird how that works.
It's shocking how that happens when you cash a few parlays. All of a sudden, you're like, you know what? This isn't nearly as bad as I thought that it was.
So, just to finish the other about the baseball bets. So, along with the team home runs, this was an interesting caveat that I kind of discovered to make the bets super interesting at the end. If you can get by your first 4 or 5 legs and your final leg, so this is kind of the pinnacle of living on a hedge. So
this is the absolute reason why we started this and where we came up with the name of this.
Yes. So the final leg of any parlay that I shouldn't say any, but the majority of parlays that we do, yes,
at least 90%,
we will always add in the final game of the night, whatever the last game of the night is.
It doesn't matter what game it is.
Makes zero difference. 7:40 game, 8:10 game,
it's
whatever
the Giants
it is.
Athletics, it's the Padres, Mariners, it's irrelevant.
Whatever the West Coast game is, the latest West Coast game. So we'll take. Follow with me. We look to see who has the best odds for over 0.5 hits.
No, so the best odds for under 0.5 hits.
No. But what I'm saying, though, is whatever one will give you the highest payout for over 0.5 or for under 0.5 hits.
Yes.
So you don't want to take a guy for 1.5 hits. You want to take a guy for 0.5 hits. And then that particular guy you take for 1 plus HRR as the final leg of the parlay.
Yes.
Now, the odds for that 1 plus HRR is typically minus 300, minus 350.
Depends on who it is.
It's terrible odds. But when you already have a parlay of 5 or 6 legs, that leg will still add another full unit onto the parlay.
Usually more than that.
Yeah, even at minus 350, you're still going to get another full unit, maybe a unit and a half, possibly even up to 2 units. Just depends on the odds.
Yeah.
So the interesting thing that why we do this, if we make it to that leg, now you go back as you're waiting for that game to start. You take them for under 0.5 hits in a completely separate bet at usually plus 180, plus 190.
I've even seen up to plus 200.
It can anywhere from usually plus 170 to plus 200.
Yeah.
You get great odds. You take the under 0.5 hits. Now you've hedged that bet. But the interesting thing is, and this has happened to us a few different times. Ketel Marte earlier on in the season.
Yeah.
So all we need is one. So HRR, for those of you who may not know, it stands for all you need is 1 hit, 1 run scored, or 1 RBI from that player. So any of those works. So if that player scores a run or gets an RBI through a sac fly, whatever it may be.
Suicide squeeze?
Sure, whatever it may be. Gets either the run scored or the RBI, but does not get a hit. Guess what? You've double dipped. You've won your original parlay at plus 800, plus 900, and you've won your hedge at whatever you bet at the plus 190.
Well, the other thing too, and I started doing this, or you and I both figured it out, but instead of waiting until you get to the final leg of the parlay, so you got your 6-leg parlay, the first 5 are green, you're in great shape. You just need, in that situation, you need 1 HRR from Ketel Marte. Okay. Instead of getting to that point and going, you know what, that's a $100 parlay that pays $1,000. We'll hedge $300. Let's say,
sure,
it's a nice even number. You know what, him under hits at plus 180. So then we either make $500 or we make $700, $100, or $1,000 minus the $300 on the hedge. But it's you're betting 30% of your potential win. Sure.
By doing it that way. So then this is what you came up with.
Right. So I came up with this. Instead of doing it that way, you take the first 5 legs of the parlay before any of the games start, and then the 6th leg, instead of doing the 1 HRR for Ketel Marte, you take his under hits.
Well, you make the original parlay with the 1 HR.
Right.
Then you make a separate parlay.
Correct. Yeah.
That is all of the same legs with under 0.5 hits. So now you've built in the hedge, basically.
Right. Yeah, so you've built in the hedge. So what happens is that plus 1,000 parlay with his 1 HRR will turn into a plus 2,846 parlay with his under hits. So all you do is you bet, let's just say, $15 or $20 on that particular parlay with his under hits. Now that thing pays $400, $500, whatever it may be. Now, instead of spending $300 on that hedge on the final leg, now you've only spent $15 or $25 or whatever the number is to get, in essence, the same payout. So now you're saving, if you will, $275, which that $275 can either be used for 2 things. It can be used for bets the next day that you have not spent on the hedge itself, or you can hedge more on that given leg if you want to, based on how the parlay pays. If the parlay pays $2,800, then sure, you might want to hedge a little bit more.
Sure.
But that is in essence where we came up with that.
Yeah. And I mean, as I said, this year so far we've had success, just not quite as much success as we did last year. Last year it was amazing.
We were doing great for April.
It was
April and May,
incredible how many times that we would get to that final leg, and guys 0 for 3, and he hits a sack fly in his 4th at bat, and we're celebrating because we hit the original parlay for $1,000, and we hit the hedge for an extra $500 because and all we bet was $15 on it. It was like a plus $3,000 or plus 3,000 odds bet because of using the under hits, which added the plus 180 at the end, which just jumped the parlay ridiculous.
Yeah. See, now our problem is that we're not getting sometimes it's been happening to us where we don't get to the final leg, and it's the middle leg of the parlay that buries us, and we're getting 7 out of 8 correct, and it's always that middle one.
Yeah,
So.
and I mean,
that's just where shit happens, and
it's
parlays are hard.
Yeah,
I mean,
nobody will ever tell you that. Yeah, if anybody ever tells you that, I'm a parlay wizard, I win every one I make, or I win 80% of them. Yeah, it's not happening.
No, I mean anybody can post the wins that they have, but you have to also post the losers that you have, and you have to just own it. You just have to own it.
Of course.
I mean, hey, we took over 0.5 home runs at Wrigley Field. The wind was blowing out by 25 miles an hour, and they were going against a guy making his major league debut, and the guy pitched a gem.
Yep.
And pitched
Nothing
7 innings with 8 strikeouts, no walks, and 2 hits, and you're going, you know what? I tip my cap. I made the correct play. It was the right bet to make. It just didn't work out.
Yeah.
And you just have to just accept that and move on to the next day.
And it's going to happen a lot. That's the way sports are.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I can't, honestly, Jason, I cannot wait to fully get this started and to, start getting 100% into this so everybody can, join along with us. Make sure that you follow along on all the socials, on Instagram, on X, on TikTok. It's all at Livin on a Hedge, no G, Livin on a Hedge. We have a website that is going to be coming out very, very soon, and we also will have an app.
We have our own
app.
That is going to be fun.
Yes, that's going to be great because it's going to be able to have all of our picks that are going to be posted on there. We're going to have a live chat type area so everybody that's inside the community can get on live during the games with us whenever we're available to help comment and talk about the games as they're happening and watch the at-bats live with everybody. And
that's going to be the best part. That part
sure.
I can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, and that's really what we're trying to do is we're trying to just create a community of fellow like-minded gamblers that are just average people like you and I. You and I both have wives. We both have jobs. I mean, I have my daughter at home. I mean, you don't have any children, but
I do have a dog who's like our kid.
Your dog, your dog, in essence, is your son. I mean,
absolutely,
as much crap as he puts you through, that's for sure. But that's really what we're trying to do out there for everybody is that we just want to create a community for everybody to join with us and to, suffer through the bad beats with us, to try to laugh about them and to try to have a little sarcastic humor with it, but also celebrate in the wins when they come.
We are two of the probably the most sarcastic people you'll ever meet. I mean, through all of our texts, through all of our talks, when we're winning bets, when we're losing bets, we are extremely sarcastic, and that's kind of what we're trying to convey through this mission that we started. I mean, we've talked about it. We finally took the step. We're doing it, and we just hope to grow and have fun with everybody that wants to join us.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the only goal that we ever have is just to lose lower than everybody else.
That's exactly right.
That's really the only goal. I mean, we've had a couple good hits. We've been profitable at times, and I mean, and that's great. But hopefully, we can try to convey a little bit of wisdom, a little bit of knowledge to everybody else that's out there. Maybe make them see some bets that they've never seen before.
Absolutely.
Maybe think about how to structure bets a little bit differently than they ever did before in terms of adding this particular leg over other legs. And I mean, and that stuff we'll get into subsequent episodes here next week, and also the things that we'll be posting online. And I mean, I'm hoping that Kevin can get the app and get that website taken care of here within the next 7 to 14 days. So that's up and live and running.
And we're in no hurry to we want to build this slow. We want to build this.
And we want to make sure we build it right.
We want
to make sure that everything that we want to have in it is in it.
Exactly.
And that's the most important thing. But it will be coming, everybody out there. We are going to have a website. We are going to have an app that's going to be coming out. And once we get everything 100% live up and running, there's going to be some drawings. There's going to be some giveaways. There's going to be some other things that we kind of have in the back of our minds for people to,
absolutely,
get a little bit of
But as of right now, definitely, we have all of our social sites up. We just getting them started. So, you'll be one of our first few subscribers. We'd love to have you join us. We're on basically every social site there is. Livin on a Hedge. Go check us out. Like, subscribe. Have fun with us.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm super grateful and happy to be starting this journey with you.
You have no idea. It's something that's been in the works for a long time, and I'm happy that we finally took the step and did it.
We've been talking about it at least for 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, minimum of 2 years. So I'm glad that we finally pushed record. We finally got everything set up, and we're ready to go.
Yeah. I hope this first episode wasn't boring, and I hope you kind of got an idea of who we are, and hope you'll be looking forward to an episode every week. That's what our goal is.
Yeah, I mean, next week we'll have a lot more bets that we're going to be discussing and talking about, plays of the week that we like, things that we're looking forward to for later matchups in the week in terms of, batters against pitchers or, teams that we like to win. Maybe an underdog. Do we just like the way that it's set up? We'll see.
Yeah, but today was just kind of a get to know us, who we are, and kind of get an idea of what we're all about and what we like to do, and starting next week with. Future shows, we're just going to, just get into more about the sports betting, more about the bets that we like, tell, on whatever day that we record, what we like, what we like for the upcoming week, things like that. So
not just that, but we'll be able to recap all the bets that we made in the previous week and be able to talk about how one team screwed us over and how one team like
inevitably
Jackson
that will happen.
That might have saved us in the ninth inning with 2 outs as well.
Exactly.
So there's going to be lots of humor and sarcasm to go with all of that stuff, and hopefully we can get a few. Hopefully we can get a few bets that are green and cash a little bit of money in the time being.
All right. Well, I think that'll do it for this week. Appreciate you all listening to Livin on a Hedge. Till next week, may your bets be live, your parlays survive, and your bad beats never arrive.
We'll see you guys all next week. Now remember, go out and hedge your happiness.